Okay, let's see. The midpoint of a line. Let's talk about what a midpoint of the line is. The midpoint of the line is right in the middle of the line. The definition of a midpoint means that that's the point where both sides of the line are congruent. So the midpoint is where XO and YO are the same exact measurement. That's the midpoint of the line. Okay. Let me explain. Okay. Uh, let's call this A. A is not the midpoint of the line because A, and let's call this C. Let's call this X. A is not the midpoint of the line because AC is not the same as AX, right? So that can't be the midpoint of the line. But let's see. Let's call this this is the midpoint of the line because AC and AX are the same distance, approximately. I'm just using it as an example. But that's the midpoint. The definition of a midpoint is that it splits the line into two congruent parts, or two equal parts. So O would be the midpoint because it's splitting line XY into two congruent parts. You understand? Hope you do. Okay, so here, what can you conclude about XY and YZ if you are told that Y is the midpoint of XZ? So if you notice, XY and YZ, basically what that is just a line, right? We have X here, we have Y in the middle, and then we have Z over here. So what we can conclude of Y is the midpoint, what we can conclude is that XY and YZ are congruent. So what can you conclude about XY and YZ if you are told that Y is the midpoint of YZ? That they are congruent. So we use the symbol. Instead of writing it out, we use the symbol for congruent, which is an equal sign with a little squiggly line on top of it. Postulate 3 tells us that a line segment can be bisected at only one point. In other words, there's only one midpoint in any line. You can't have two midpoints. You can only have one. In other words, there's only one point that splits this line into two congruent parts. There cannot be 2 points, because if I put a point here, that's not the midpoint. If I put a point here, that's not the midpoint. The midpoint is right in the middle, and there can only be one middle. So that's what postulate 3 is telling you. It's pretty obvious, right? A line segment can be bisected at only one point. Bisected means cut in half. Okay, what they want you to do on a separate piece of paper is construct AZ congruent to OP, and then bisect AZ and name the midpoint X. So let's see if we can do this here. Let me go look up. Okay, so construct AZ congruent to OP. So we got to construct a line congruent to OP. So let's do that. First, we have to draw a line with the straight edge. Start off by drawing a line with your straight edge. Let's see if I could draw a straight line here. I think I got a tool to draw straight lines. Oh, maybe not. Oh no, I thought I did. I guess I don't. So I'm going to have to try to do it as straight as I can. So let's see. There. Okay, and I forgot what they told me to do, so let me go look back up. It says construct AZ congruent to OP. So I'm going to start off by putting a little dot here and calling it A. Then I'm going to grab my compass. Okay. Grab my compass. In fact, I'm going to erase this. Now so I could see. I'm going to draw my line here. Put my little point, call it A. Then I'm going to grab my compass and put the needle on O. Since they want me to copy line OP, I'll put my needle on O. Then I'm going to open up my compass so that the pencil gets to P. The pencil part gets to P. While my needle's on O, right? P. Draw my arc. Then put my needle here on A. And then draw my arc. And we're going to call that AZ. Alright? and then bisect AZ and name the midpoint X. Well, up here they teach you how to bisect. I'm going to teach you really quick so you won't have to read all that. Well, what you do is you open up your compass, you put your needle here, and open up your compass just a little bit past the halfway point. Okay, this would be like the halfway point, right? So you're going to open up your compass past the halfway point, just a little bit past it, and then you're going to strike an arc up here, put your needle here, you're going to strike an arc up here like this. Okay, and then you're going to strike an arc down here by, keep your needle right there, strike an arc down here like this. Okay, and then you're going to move your needle over here to point Z. Don't move your compass, don't change the measurement, leave it how it is, and put your needle here. If you need to press pause, you can, if you need extra time. Once you put your needle here, you're going to strike another arc, and it's going to look like this, something like that. Okay, you're going to strike an arc in the bottom too. It's going to look like that. You notice we've got two X's. Remember, X marks the spot. Well, if you draw a line through the two X's, what you're going to get is a bisect. In other words, where that line crosses line AZ is the exact middle of line AZ. Pretty cool, huh? So let me just repeat this. You put the needle here, open up your compass past the halfway point, then you draw an arc up here and an arc down here. Then you move your needle to this side. You don't move the measurements. You don't move the compass measurement. You leave it the way it is. Then you strike an arc up down here, and then you strike another arc up here, and what you're gonna get is two X's, one on the bottom, one on each side of the line, and then through the X's you draw a line, and where that line crosses the AZ point, or line AZ, is the midpoint, and that is a bisector of line AZ.